All right, everyone. We've got head coach Adrian Heath joining us. Thank you for joining us, Adrian. Andy, could you get us going?
Adrian, I imagine you're gutted over the way that ended up.
Yeah, I thought the players massive shift tonight. Couldn't fault them in any aspect of what we asked of them. They were unbelievable. The shape, the discipline, and football's a cruel game at times. Sometimes you don't get what you deserve, and considering the work that the players have put in, and I thought, when I look across the group, I couldn't have asked for much more from any of them this evening. So disappointed for them. Disappointed for our supporters who were here. Incredible that they made the journey, and it's always a cruel way of going out. We've all been on the good side and we've all been on the bad side, and it's still never easy to take.
How can you hear it? Can you hear us, Adrian?
No.
In particular, how bitter is it to have a season end on penalty kicks?
Better? Did you say?
Bitter.
Oh, bitter. No. Well, it's we knew what was coming. When you get to extra time, it's around the corner, and but both teams were really a bit tentative in the extra time because obviously you work so hard. You want to protect what you've got. They were a bit similar. We looked dangerous on the break, and as I say, I can't fault the players. And once it comes down to penalties, there's going to be a winner, there's going to be a loser, there's going to be a hero, and there's going to be somebody who thinks it's the worst night they've ever had. And it's never easy. Trust me, these moments.
Pierre, go for it.
Adrian, I know it's fresh off of a loss and the season's over, but when you think about it, do you feel that this team was ever able to really gain traction, with all the injuries that you've had throughout the season, and how difficult was that to try to manage through to try to establish?
It's certainly, I think, been the most challenging with what we've been through this year, and obviously over the next sort of few days and next weeks or so, we will have a good chance to sit down and assess and see what was good, see what was not so good, and then try and make some alterations in the off season to come back and make the playoffs and hopefully go further than we've done tonight.
Andy?
Adrian, 0 shots on goal for Luis and Mender. Did you need to see more up top?
No, I couldn't single players out this evening, Andy.
Okay.
I thought that what we've done is, we will have to assess the body of work that we've done from the beginning of the year, not on over 90 minutes in the playoffs against a difficult team who, buoyed by the best atmosphere I've seen here. I've never seen this many people here. So it was a big evening, and I can't fault any of the players for their effort. And we'll have another look at the game and assess it and dissect it and see what we could have done better or worse. But I don't particularly want to go into individuals at this moment.
Sure.
And you can go again if you want to.
Adrian, Robin comes out after 105. Was that just the max for him? Obviously, you want him if it goes to PKs. Is that just?
Yeah, he's not done an awful lot of work. He's been playing games and then he's been recuperating, and he just felt his calf being really sore. And obviously at that stage you can't carry anybody. You can't get people. The way they're piling men forward, we couldn't afford people in wide areas because both their fullbacks were getting high and wide. We needed some energy on that. Obviously, you would like his experience on the field, and you would like that, probably experience when it came to the penalties. But at the end of the day, when people can't go, you have to make the change.
Pierre?
Adrian, when Bongi and when Amaria come off the field at the same time, how does that change in your mind in terms of trying to attack up the field?
Well, obviously, we wanted to get a fresh pair of legs on for Luis. He'd put an awful lot into the game. And because of the job that we asked either of the forwards and Reynoso tonight to take away their deep line midfield play, and they did it really well. Very diligent in the work that they did, and I just thought some fresh legs. Mender being through the middle might help us, and like Bongi probably lasted longer than we thought we were going to get out of him. He's done virtually nothing over the last 4 or 5 weeks with his medial ligament injury. So to get what he's done tonight is terrific.
Jacob?
Yeah. Adrian Heath had a little bit of game performance today. It looked like he was immaculate throughout the 120 minutes.
You go again, Jacob, please.
Can you speak on Dayne's goalkeeping performance today? He was incredible in net for you guys.
I made a couple of really big saves when we needed him, but I'm always very honest with the keepers. The saves that he made was one free kick I thought was a really big save. Come from behind it, it was going top corner. The rest, I thought he needed to. He should have saved, if you like. So, but no, he's and when we go to PKs, I fancied us because he's generally very, very good in the penalty kick situation, and it wasn't to be this evening.
Andy?
Adrian, do you put your arm around Will, just given that he missed the PK, but also got you in that spot with that long ball to Bongi to score the goal? What do you do with Will?
Yeah, we win together, we lose together, and we all have to take a share of the responsibility. No one player's won as the game, and generally it takes the team to win matches. And everybody there, but for the grace of God, go the other 4 or 5. We've all been there, we've all scored, and we've all missed them. It's not a nice feeling. You feel as though it's the end of the world, and it's not. And tomorrow you'll feel a little bit better. But you can't hide the disappointment that he feels, because you do take that responsibility on yourself.
We've got time for a few more questions. Andy, go for it.
Adrian, were you surprised how much they were allowed to play in that first half? It seemed like it was quite physical with not a lot of stoppages or cards.
Yeah, I think it's obviously been a directive. I think I've certainly thought the last 2 or 3 games that I've watched have been a bit more open, and the referees let a little bit more physicality go, which I think's been good. I think it makes for a better game, but rather than referees blowing every 10 seconds for petty fouls. And I think after a few minutes, the players know, okay, we can get away with a little bit more. But I thought it helped the game.
Jeffrey Wald, go for it.
Adrian, just how tough of a loss is this tonight? Just knowing that you kind of had an up and down season, but anytime you get to the postseason, there's always a chance. So just how tough a loss is this tonight?
Well, as I said, I can't. It's always when you go out the playoffs, because we all dream of, can we win 3 or 4 games to get us there? And I know this team capable of that. But it's been a difficult year, as I said. It's been very inconsistent with the selection at times because of the players' availability and with the injuries that we've had. And but when I think of the performance from the players and everything that we asked of them, I couldn't have asked any more of the guys this evening. I really couldn't. And as I say, we'll have to assess it all over the next weeks, in the coming weeks, and see what's been good, see what changes we think we need to make. And there will be, that's the way the game is, that people will stay, people will go, new people will come in, because that's the nature of the game, and that's the nature of MLS with the salary cap. And, we've got some really big and tough decisions to make over a lot of players in the next few weeks.
All right, if that's what everyone wants. Appreciate it, Adrian. Thank you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Adrian.
Better up.
All right, Jacob, would you lead us off, please?
Will, can you talk to us a little about what your emotions are like at the moment, what you're feeling?
Yeah, I mean, it's disappointing. Anytime you lose, especially penalties, it's just tough to swallow, because we had a lot of good moments in the game. I thought we played well. We worked so hard. And the guys deserve more, right? But that's, when it boils down to it, that's just the way the penalty shootouts can go. So unfortunately, I was the one that didn't convert, but the guys have been amazing. The team spirit today was incredible. The way in which guys encouraged one another, picked each other up, and kept going for 120 minutes was something great to see. And if we're thinking about where we were a year ago and how we rolled over, this is the complete opposite. And maybe the result's the same, and you do get judged on the result, but there's certainly something to look at and take from this. Is we're a group of players that didn't bend, didn't break, and we came together as a group for sure.
Andy?
Will, thanks for taking the time to speak with us during this tough moment. Can you walk us through what you were trying to do with the PK, and what did you not just hit it where you wanted it, or what kind of didn't go right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those where half the time it's a crapshoot. Maybe you try to change it at the last second if he dives the right way. But I found that if you're trying to change things, it gets messed up even more so. So you just kind of have to trust what you're doing and pick a spot and go for it. And the goalkeeper guesses right and makes a good save.
Pierre?
Will, you kind of touched on it just a moment ago. You said last year you feel like maybe you guys kind of rolled over at the end, but with all the optimism coming into this year and the result being the same as you say, how frustrating is that really? Like when you guys really believed that this was a year where you could take a big step forward? Yeah.
Again, like I said, disappointment and frustration it's a part of what happens in these playoff runs when you lose, especially the way in which we played tonight. I thought we deserved more. So it's unfortunate, but I think for us, we got to just take the positives from it. Ultimately, it's a step in the right direction in the sense of some of the results we had this season, some of the form that we found this season, and continuing to build that chemistry and the quality that we have on the field to generate consistent winning patterns. And we can go away and win games, but ultimately I think had we not limped into the playoffs here, maybe we're hosting a game and it's a different story, but that's the way it goes. So I think for us, really understanding that our goal next season should be not only making the playoffs, but hosting a playoff game, because we know in front of our crowd, in front of our fans, we're a team that is different. So not that we didn't do enough to win tonight, but that's the reality. It's a part of the game. And I think for us, we're just going to take the positives from it.
Jacob or Jerry?
Hey, well, will you take Dayne on 5 penalty kicks any other day of the week?
Yeah, I mean, I think he almost got the first one, the Harvest one, the little Panenka. But again, you guys watch enough soccer to understand that these things can go either way at any time. I mean, you saw yesterday with Salt Lake and Austin, right? So with Dayne, we trust him to make a save. He didn't make one tonight. It's the reality. It's what it is. No one's specifically to blame. We weren't expecting him to make a save, and we were expecting ourselves to score all the penalties. So it is what it is.
Andy, go for it.
Will, there were a few times where you had some space on the ball. I remember the long ball to Bongi that set up the goal, and then another long one to Mender. What were you able to find there in midfield at times?
Yeah, I think once we got the ball down and created a little bit of composure and possession, our guys did a really good job running behind. Bongi did a great job in the first half as well. I think I found him on one as well in the first half, and a couple in the second half. And then obviously it's not exactly how he drew it up, but we scored off of it. Ray is opportunistic and finds a good spot and slots it home. And then the Mender chance was another one in which the center backs are planted and he's looking to run behind, and you just try to give the guy a chance. And that's something that he does well. It's one of his strengths. So you just try to provide to that.
Pierre, go for it.
I know you haven't had a chance to look back at the tape. You won't get a chance to do that till later, but do you feel you created enough dangerous chances in the attacking third, particularly in the second half?
I think it was the second half was a little bit more back and forth, a lot more space opening up. I think we had a couple moments in which we were dangerous, but I think about a few where we slip a guy in to get in a good crossing position. Maybe we're not to the front post, those sorts of things where there's danger in the area, but I don't know how clear cut the chance is. So again, Pierre, it's hard to reflect on it right now, but I do think we did enough get in dangerous spots and to move them around. And I think then it becomes what's the secondary or tertiary movement after that. And like I said, with Bongi's goal, it's a little opportunistic, but we put our guys in good spots, picking up second balls and driving forward. And I think we just need to continue to think about doing that.
Jacob? Jacob or Jerry?
Aaron?
I can't.
Oh, Will, you can hear us? Okay, perfect.
I can hear you now.
Great. Can you just talk to me what it's like to know the 2022 campaign is over? There's been ups, there's been downs. It's been long. There's a little bit of a break now. What's it like to know this is the end of the season?
I don't know if it's sunk in at all, Jacob. Yeah, I mean, I think it's disappointing. Again, I'll say it again. We wanted more, we didn't get more, and now we have to wait for next year. So it's crazy. You play for 8-9 months and you have one game, 120 minutes in this case, and penalties, and it doesn't go your way, and that's football. But I think for us, there were some good moments and some inconsistent moments. And I think for us, it's understanding, like I talked to you guys this week, what did we do in those good moments? What should we draw back on and try to sustain to take into next year, which will allow us to be a team that's challenging for the trophies and the things we want, because we have the quality. It's just about consistency of energy. You saw tonight, I mean, the defensive shape and how we were able to limit what they could do. Truly, it was very, very impressive from that side of the ball. And then we win the ball and we put our guys in good positions to run up the defense. And I think that's something that comes from commitment from the guys every single moment. And it's easy to do that, I think, in the playoffs and in the moments where it's ride or die. But can we start doing that every single game? Can we start having a belief that this group can go win games consistently home or away? And that's something we're gonna have to meditate on and reflect on this offseason.
We've got time for one or two more questions. Andy, go for it.
You kind of answered my question about looking forward to next year and what you need. So what do you feel like you're going to do here with a little bit longer of an off season, just given the World Cup here? How do you approach it, knowing that it's ending earlier than usual?
I think how I've always approached them is you try to take a couple weeks and just decompress and let the body rest. If you have little niggling injuries, which most guys do at the end of the season, try to get those under control. And then honestly, you start ramping back up not too much longer after that, because we're competitors, right? Our bodies want and crave to work. And going into November, December, it's gearing up for a quick start in preseason, beginning of January. So I think guys they'll go home, they'll enjoy the holidays, but within that, you do start trying to build for next year, trying to assess the things in your game or in the team that you want to improve and you want to see grow. And that's a big part of being a professional and staying at the professional level for a long time.
All right. Well, I think that's all we've got for you. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Will.
Thanks, Will.
And then in a few moments, we will have goalkeeper Dayne St. Clair joining us. We've got Dayne. Thank you for joining us, Dayne. Andy, would you like to kick us off?
Dayne, obviously, great, 120 minutes with 8 saves. What did you feel like was working in regulation and in extra time for you?
Yeah, I think we had a really good shape going into the game. We knew that they play a lot at the back, and we kind of just let their center backs have it and made sure that we had kept a good shape behind the ball. And I think that was key to us really not giving up many chances today.
Go again, Andy.
Dayne, with that one that you pushed over the bar, the first one, was that just the only play that you felt like you had at that moment to kind of do something with it?
Yeah, I mean, when the ball is right on the crossbar, it's definitely difficult, and you have to assess the risk of if I want to take it and give up a rebound with the ball hitting off the bar and spilling in front of the 6-yard box. So I think I really didn't have an option but to push it over. I mean, I know it looks like a lot of an easier play, but I think when you're in that situation and you see the ball right on top of the crossbar, I think that's the only option that seems feasible at the moment.
Pierre, go for it.
Dayne, as a goalie in a penalty kick situation, how much do you really know about these guys when they come up to take a shot in terms of a scouting report, and how much is it instinct that you have to rely on to just kind of maybe take a guess as to where they might go?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, I don't think Dallas took a penalty this year. Maybe had one, so definitely wasn't much information on them, which is always difficult because in our sport, if you want to obviously be able to thrive off the most information that you can to be able to do things, and to also in the moment you never know what a guy's going to do. So I think at the end of the day you got to go with your gut and kind of course take the chance. You know what I mean? So I think it's unfortunate today, but on a different day I fancy myself in penalties, and I think I always will moving forward.
Andy?
Dayne, was the first one the one that you maybe felt the best chance of saving the Panenka?
Yeah, I think obviously I was able to get my foot on it. So I think, like I said, maybe on a different day that it's able to stay out. But I think anytime someone decides to go for a Panenka, I think it's obviously a ballsy move on their part. And I think it's a ballsy move to stay down the middle too. So I think it's just kind of a little bit of a cat and mouse game. And unfortunately, I lost that battle.
We got time for just a few more questions. Pierre, go for it.
Dayne, you guys had, multiple defenders kind of in and out of the lineup, rotating, different sides of the field. How does that affect the keeper, as the season goes on, and in your ability to trust what you see in front of you in terms of that back four?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it shows our depth at the back. And when guys had an opportunity to step up, they knew that they had to take full opportunity of it. It's just similar to my situation when I started playing at the beginning of the year. I think our depth at the back this year was definitely good, and guys knew that if they weren't performing, that there was someone on their heels, and that someone was always ready for the opportunity. So I mean, I think at times it can be difficult when there's new guys coming in, but I think once we're able to establish those relationships close towards the end of the season and things like that, I think it makes it much easier when we know what we want to do.
You can go again, Pierre.
I know this is probably a question better for the days ahead, but I don't know if we'll get a chance to talk to you again, Dayne. But can you just kind of describe the season for you, the way it started, the All-Star appearance, and then now just kind of the ride that you've been on this season for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely started with one of the best games of my life, and I knew I had to have that kind of game to give myself an opportunity to be playing, and to give myself an opportunity to be selected for the World Cup team and to be starting week in and week out. So I think to be able to go from that game and be able to push on, like you said, again, the All-Star game, but I think there was also some rough patches in there as well. And I think moving forward that I'll need to be a little more consistent in that mid-season kind of area. And I know that if I'm able to, I've shown that how I can play at the beginning of the season and things like that. And I think I had a good end to the season as well. But I think to be able to clean up that middle stage and bring it back to how I was playing early on, we'll give ourselves an opportunity moving forward and give myself the best opportunity moving forward.
Any last questions? Andy, go for
it. Dayne, Will was in here talking about kind of a lack of consistency in the full season, just given the ups and downs that you guys had. How do you find and lock into that consistency to be able to host a playoff game and get what you guys really want with a deep playoff run?
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, looking back at it is frustrating. I think you can probably pick out moments in a lot of the games where we drop points of maybe a lack of concentration or a lapse or a mistake, including myself. And I think just being able to limit mistakes, I think gives you the best opportunity to win. So I think just trying to limit mistakes and not letting one to lead to another. And I think just part of it's being mentally tough too. I mean, I think when we went on some of our bad spells, we lost some of that mental strength, and you could see it when we would concede a goal. But then on the other hand, when we made that run of being undefeated for 10 or however many games it was, we showed that we had that mindset, and it's within us. So I think that's definitely the positive to know that it's within us, but it's just about bringing it every day.
Final question here, Andy.
Yeah, Dayne, how do you feel going into the World Cup, knowing that you're maybe one issue away from playing in the World Cup?
Yeah, I think my role at the World Cup, I'll definitely be in a support role. But if my name's called, I'll be ready to go. I think I showed it this year with the game at Red Bulls. I wasn't supposed to play in that game, and I was in a support role, and my number was called, and I showed up on the day. And I think it's no similar in my position. You kind of always have to be ready, and you never know when your time will come. But it's just about staying ready. But on the other hand, too, it's just about supporting the guys in front of you, and to make sure that I'm doing the best to help the team.
All right, with that, we are finished with tonight. Thank you, Dayne, for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Dan.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Recording.